We are in the middle of an epidemic. In fact, it's called the worst public health epidemic in our history.
There's 8 members of the Sackler family caused much of the opioid epidemic. And the case is shining a spotlight on the powerful family behind the drug maker.
They were all hell-bent on becoming super rich.
Imagine a medical industry that's supposed to keep a nation healthy, but becomes so completely corrupt that it causes an epidemic. This has become a reality in the United States, where opioids have caused just under 50,000 deaths per year, according to recent figures. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Countless other lives have been destroyed through addiction.
Well, the state of Maine is not joining a tentative opioid crisis settlement between a number of state and local governments and the family that owns Purdue Pharma, which is the maker of Oxycontin. Yesterday, we told you about the deal in which Stamford, Connecticut-based Purdue would pay up to $12 billion, and the Sackler family, which owns the company, would give up control. A spokesman for the Attorney General's office said that Maine, along with many other states, is opposed to that proposed deal. The spokesman said the office welcomes a, quote, an orderly liquidation of Purdue in the bankruptcy process and will continue efforts to hold the Sackler family accountable. Nearly half the states and some 2,000 local governments have agreed to a tentative settlement with Purdue Pharma over the toll of the nation's opioid crisis.
The Attorney General of Pennsylvania announced his office is suing the maker of Oxycontin. Attorney General Josh Shapiro claims Purdue Pharma bears responsibility for the opioid crisis. Channel 11's Lisa Sylvester joins us with a closer look at Shapiro's claims about the drug maker.
Peggy, 26,000. That is how many lives Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro says have been lost in Pennsylvania since 1997.
Their loss fuels our efforts.
Attorney General Josh Shapiro released a 121-page report detailing his office's claims that Purdue Pharma created the opioid crisis. He claims the company targeted specific doctors and had them create lists of patients who could be prescribed opioids, essentially guaranteeing customers. He also says Purdue salespeople emphasized to doctors how military veterans would be good customers for opioids, even going as far as funding a book specifically about pain management for vets. Other states have sued Purdue, but Shapiro says Pennsylvania's lawsuit goes further.
It is the first in the nation to greatly detail how Purdue targeted Pennsylvania with a sprawling sales force that made 500,000 visits throughout our Commonwealth.
Shapiro says the effects go beyond the cost to human life.
Between 2012 and 2016, opioid-related fatalities cost Pennsylvania more than $142 billion.
The Attorney General says while the drug has taken a toll in Pennsylvania, Purdue Pharma has made more than $35 billion in revenue since Oxycontin's release in 1996.
So while Purdue and its executives were profiting and lining their own pockets, they were leaving a path of loss, heartache, and bills for someone else in Pennsylvania to pay.
Purdue denied Shapiro's claims, calling the complaint, quote, part of a continuing effort to try these cases in the court of public opinion rather than the justice system.
A federal judge in New York overturned a bankruptcy deal that shielded the Sackler family from civil claims. The judge said the provision that granted them immunity was inconsistent with the U.S. bankruptcy code. That goes against a September ruling. A U.S. bankruptcy judge had approved a deal that would have seen the Sackler family pay $4.5 billion to the states, and in return, they'd get sweeping immunity from civil cases. The Sacklers own Purdue Pharma, which makes the highly addictive opioid Oxycontin. The family and the company have faced lawsuit after lawsuit, accusing them of fueling the nation's drug crisis. The opioid epidemic has killed roughly 500,000 Americans over the last 2 decades, according to the CDC. The Sackler family has denied any wrongdoing.
A drug enforcement database now shows 76 billion oxycodone and hydrocodone pills flooded U.S. communities between 2006 and 2012. That database is a key part of a massive legal case in federal court in Cleveland, where a judge is pushing for a settlement. Some experts say it could top $100 billion.
Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals is a UK-based drug maker with U.S. operations in Missouri. It's best known for selling the billion-dollar drug HP Acthar Gel. But last week, it was also revealed to be the largest manufacturer of oxycodone and hydrocodone pills over a 7-year period, supplying U.S. communities with almost 29 billion pills. As a federal judge in Ohio pushes for an opioid settlement, that could spell billions of dollars. But Mallinckrodt has a plan that would shield its main business from those potential liabilities. It aims to spin out its generic drug division, which contains oxycodone and hydrocodone, into a new company. With it, company executives say, should go any potential liabilities from selling opioids. Mallinckrodt notes it's been considering how to separate the two businesses for years and doesn't cite the liabilities as a driving factor. But it wouldn't be the first company to try to benefit from a sale or spin-off of a business with legal risks from opioids. In 2014, consumer products giant Reckitt Benckiser, which sells brands from Clear Cell acne products to Enfamil baby formula, spun out its pharmaceuticals unit into a company called Indivior. Earlier this year, Reckitt Benckiser agreed to an almost $1.5 billion settlement with the Department of Justice over sales practices for the opioid product Suboxone. But the company wasn't named when the Justice Department indicted Indivior.